on deck this weekend, including #1 Texas versus #3 Ohio State, the defending national champions. That's Saturday, noon Eastern time kick. I know we're all counting down the minutes to that one. It's going to be such a great game. And really, I feel like at this point, we feel like that one could go either way, which is what's really exciting about it. But one of the biggest storylines heading into this one, of course, is about Texas's quarterback, Arch Manning. We know how highly touted he's been. We know that the hype around Arch has reached a fever pitch, but has it gone too far? That's the question. Our Jordan Rogers, ESPN college football analyst, was on Get Up, and he says that the hype has, in fact, gone too far when it comes to Arch. Here's what he had to say. Jordan, are you there? I guess they don't have it. Well, I'm going to paraphrase here. So with Jordan Rogers on Get Up, he was talking about Arch, and he was talking about the hype surrounding him. And he says that the tape does not match the hype. Victoria, you cover college football for us here at ESPN. Where are you at with the hype with Arch matching the reality?
We need to pump the brakes, okay? Because people are about to just drive this car off the cliff at this point. I think we've all agreed on this, that names matter, and the name on the back of your jersey matters too. If his last name wasn't Manning, we wouldn't be having this conversation. If he also was as hyped, or the player that people are hyping him to be, how did we not see more of him last year surpass Quinn Ewers? You know, Coach Sark, he's a smart guy. He knows what he's doing. So we're talking about a quarterback that's has only 95 attempted throws in his career. So we don't have a sample size. We don't have an understanding. He didn't look great against Georgia last year. He torched teams like UTSA, Louisiana Monroe, and Mississippi State, but those were teams with the worst defense systems in the SEC. So we saw meaningful moments for him, but until he plays a few games, we're not going to know. And I also think we need to scale it back a little bit, all right? He's most likely going to be good. I mean, you're the starter for Texas. He's been being built up as Coach Sark. He has a system in place. But if he was as hyped and good as we thought he's going to be this year, we would have seen him much earlier.
Yeah, you wouldn't see 2 career starts.
Exactly.
Over 2 seasons. And I know that they like Quinn Ewers at Texas, but there would have come a point when you are vying for an SEC championship, which they were in the SEC championship game last year, that you're using Arch Manning in more than just goal line situations. I feel bad for the kid, honestly, because he's thrown into this. He doesn't want any part of this, to having to answer for questions, the questions that come to him about why should this Heisman hype be bought into? How do you feel about being the leading Heisman candidate from every sports book in America right now going into the season? Like, it's not fair to him, but this is a situation he was put in because of of being at Texas, the school in which he plays, because they start out the season with the #1 overall ranking, because of his last name and his football pedigree. If people actually want to, this is what bothers me, it's just because of the name. If you watch the tape, tell me about his pocket awareness.
Yep.
Tell me about his frame and how it puts him in a position to sustain hits, to be able to withstand a lot of different things that quarterbacks have to do to navigate to complete passes down the field. Don't just look at, what we're seeing here, which is somebody who comes from a football pedigree that's one of the most notable in the sport. There's so much more here that you could actually boil down the tape with Archie. You could say, yeah, I see it. But what Jordan Rogers was saying, it doesn't match up, because of course it doesn't match up. You have a limited sample size. We have never once in the history of college football talked about a player who had 90 career pass attempts coming in being the leading favorite for the Heisman Trophy. And it's a complete disrespect and a slap in the face to guys like Drew Aller, who took his team deep in the college football playoff, to a quarterback like Cade Klubnik, who frankly might win it this year for Clemson. They might win the national championship. Garrett Nussmeier might be the #1 overall pick next year, or at least the top quarterback taken. Dante Moore, remember him? He was at UCLA a couple years ago. Now he's at Oregon. Stop with this BS. I'd rather put, honestly, and it's no slight against Arch. Jeremiah Smith is a better Heisman Trophy candidate than a guy that we've barely seen.
Well, and also, you mentioned, Courtney, that Jordan Rogers sound. We have it ready. Let's talk about this, the tape not matching the hype. Here's what Jordan Rogers had to say about Arch on Get Up.
But I will say, and I'm going to say this, I don't know what you guys talked about when I went off air. The height doesn't match the tape. There are good things, and there are some good things. But the height or the tape, to me, doesn't tell you got a first-round draft pick or a top 10 or a number 1 overall draft pick or a Heisman hopeful. I think he's going to go into Ohio State, and he's going to struggle because he hasn't played anybody. The last time we saw him against a really good defense was Georgia, and he looked out of place, right? He looked really good against UTSA, Louisiana Monroe, and Mississippi State, the worst defense in the SEC. I think there's still a lot for him to grow and a lot we need to see, like Lewis said.
Yeah.
That's one portion of this that we haven't really analyzed. What if Arch doesn't look great in week 1? What if he doesn't look great in that game versus Ohio State? We're all talking about him potentially winning a national championship with Texas. We're talking Heisman Trophy. We haven't talked about the fact that maybe he's going to go in there and look like somebody who needs to calibrate a little bit.
Yeah.
And what if that happens? What's our reaction going to be?
I think we're going to be not shocked. I mean, we haven't seen someone that can elevate a team when he's the guy. So that's going to be a whole other ball game that he needs to address, that any quarterback taking the realm and taking the helm at that point has to deal with. We also don't know how he's going to handle a full season under pressure as the starter. How he's going to perform against top tier teams. If he struggles, it's probably to be expected. You're talking about the new guy, if you will. So for us, for anyone to then write him off completely is ridiculous. And I loved that Courtney also brought up those other quarterbacks and those other players that should be in consideration over the Heisman, because we're taking away from the fact that we have a lot of talent in college football right now that are better and have proven to be better than Arch Manning. So until he proves us otherwise, keep an eye out on those guys. Keep an eye out on Cade and Clemson. Keep an eye out on Nussmeier. Like, they are guys that have already shown us through their track record what they're capable of. And if Arch struggles, which I expect him to do because it's the Ohio State in a hostile environment, he's human. He's trying to figure it out. He's not superhuman, because if he was, he would have surpassed Quinn Ewers.
Yeah, and look where they're going week 1. This is the reason this is the most anticipated matchup that we've seen in a long time, because you've got the defending national champion as underdogs at home, and you're the number 1 team in the nation right now. The pressure element of that alone is one thing. What's going to happen if Caleb Downs is running down the field with a pick 6 early in this game? Because you know that is a very plausible possibility, considering that's a top 5 secondary. They have a top 10 linebacking core. Their pass rush lost a couple pieces. That's to be expected. It's Ohio State. They churn those guys out in and out every single year and send them to the NFL. Like, Matt Patricia has a big task at hand here to get Quinn Ewers, to get Arch Manning rattled early and often. And if he's able to do that, they could be in for a very long day. Like, yes, Texas is the top team in the country right now, but Arch has not been in that situation. No. I know what Jordan was talking about with the SEC championship game. What did he say at the end of that? He didn't look good against Georgia last year. He looked good against bad defenses.
Sure.
The one you're about to face in 2 days is not a bad defense by any stretch of the measure. They're a top 5 defense in college football right now.
That's right. I can't wait for this one. Noon Eastern time kickoff on Saturday. Number 1 Texas and Arch Manning versus, I'm just going to say, the Fighting Jeremiah Smith, because I cannot wait to see that guy play football again. Number 3 Ohio State, the defending national champions. It's going to be amazing. The rubber meets the road, and it's brought to you by Midas. At Midas, they're rolling out the limited lifetime tire guarantee, included with every tire purchase with paid installation. You'll pay nothing for flat repairs or replacements. It's the limited lifetime tire guarantee, and it's only at Midas. Well, coming up next, are we getting any closer to a resolution between the Dallas Cowboys and Micah Parsons? We'll find out on Unsportsmanlike.
The Rich Eisen Show.